I think you could even trade and replace judgment with the word love, right? If you if you're not loving someone because of this, or this, that probably means because you're holding love back from yourself because of this, and this. But if you genuinely just love people for exactly who they are, where they're at, then it comes back. And yeah, I think it's been a journey for me for sure, and I'm still on that journey of continuing to love myself. And because in the entrepreneurial world, you're praised for hustle, no sleep, grind, sleep when I die, that kind of mentality. But it's like it's not healthy, you know?
Or sustainable
Right.
at all.
That's a good point. Like, it's not sustainable. Like, you can post those type of Instagram captions for a little bit, but it's just like it's not gonna keep going forever. So yeah, I think it's striking the balance of, in my opinion, it's striking the balance of like having that direction, going after what you want, but also enjoying every step of the process and loving yourself through every step of the process too, because you're not going to be perfect. And it's funny because I grew up an athlete as well, and I pride myself on discipline. And so it's like, I would beat myself up a lot when things wouldn't go right. And I've done that from a young age. Like in baseball, when I'd strike out, I get so upset with myself. And it's interesting because I've even had, in baseball, but even since in the entrepreneur world and then just different programs and stuff that I've gone through, I've gotten that feedback so much. They said, if you were just a little bit nicer to yourself, you would probably be way further than you are right now, which is kind of an interesting paradox, because it's like, I want this, I'm going after this, but the thing that's holding me back is me not loving myself. So the more you love yourself, it's actually allowing you to get to where you want to go quicker.
Yeah. But we're not really taught that, in all honesty, either. And not because our parents didn't care to do it or any of those types of things. I just personally have found from my own experience coming in and through this world that it's not something that's front of mind. We actually feel judgment from others. And so we start to judge ourselves, or maybe it comes from the inside first, but it just kind of all starts. So then it has to be a proactive move from the inside to stop that cycle and really catch ourselves. And I don't know that we're all mindful that we're even doing it. But if we look at media, or we look at the things that are outside of us, fear sells. We were talking about this too, right? The fact that you don't feel good enough actually sells products. It's how the beauty market sells products. It's how most things sell products. So there's that negative brain bias that we hold for ourselves actually sells things. So then we have to be the ones to shift that from the inside. And I think that's where your vision videos are really key. Because if we're going to be fed that we're not good enough from one direction, we have to have a means to feed ourselves something different to create a positive brain bias from the other side. So can you talk about your vision videos and what that's about and how it can help?
Yeah, for sure. And I'm glad that you brought it up, because it is something I'm really passionate about. And it just kind of like, all of a sudden, it was another crazy idea just out of nowhere. But, I've been a big fan of visualizing and just like seeing things before they actually happen. I'll close my eyes and think about it. And when I played baseball, I had this really interesting, unique story, because I really started getting into visualization. It was my sophomore year of college. I was at a junior college, and I wanted to play Division I. So I was really just doing everything I could to have the best year I possibly could. And so visualizing was one of those things. And it was crazy, because I literally imagined exactly what was going to happen. I imagined I was going to be the last batter in the last inning, first pitch. I was going to hit a home run off the 7 on the scoreboard. I don't know exactly why that came to me, but it did. And I just, like, the whole game, I was just like, when I would come into the dugout, I would see that, visualize it, and I would get chills. And I was like, I knew it was going to happen. And sure enough, like the whole game, back and forth, like boom, the exact situation, the exact setting came up, and I'm like, this is wild. And I stepped over the plate, and the pitcher started his windup, and I got chills down my back. Like I knew what was going to happen, and all of a sudden, just boom, hit it, rocket off the 7 on the scoreboard, and I'm running around the bases, and I mean, the crowd was going wild for sure, and it was just like a really cool experience because that's one of the coolest things ever on a baseball field is I hit a walk-off and run, and it was pretty rare and unique for our particular situation. So it was really exciting. But I remember to this day, like I remember like rounding first and second. I'm like, what just happened? Because this is far beyond like a baseball game right now. Something like big happened here, and I don't know what that is. I'm gonna enjoy this, but I think that seed was just planted in my mind of like, wow, that mind or whatever's going on here is really powerful. And so that really stuck with me, and I've been a big fan of visualizing. And so that's kind of where this came from, because after I did my first podcast event, one of my friends sent me a video that it was this guy walking out on the stage doing a live podcast in front of about like 3,000 people. And I saw that, I got chills when I saw it. That's what I want. I want to start throwing bigger events and, doing that. And so then I downloaded the video and I put my branding on top of it just to make it a little bit more real. And then somehow I showed my friend, and he said something about like, oh, that's probably not the only thing that you want, right? And for whatever reason, like that just sparked it. And I'm like, vision boards, but turn them into videos to make them more real. Because what I see the challenge, because I've had a lot of, like, even though I've had like some of those really cool experiences, I feel like I've had challenges with visualizing because it doesn't sustain for me. And I'm like, why is that? And how can I create something that can help me actually fulfill the things that I really want to do? And so I realized probably one of the biggest things is that why I was able to utilize visualization in baseball is because it was so important and meaningful to me. And like when I would close my eyes and see myself hitting a home run, like it would give me chills. And so I was like, well, I think this could be like the perfect thing. So we basically take that, but kind of the reason I'm telling you all of that, and I think how this really applies to the whole self-love conversation, because without even realizing it, I thought at first this was just about the vision and like, oh, seeing, what you're about to go do. But there's so much more to that. And it is about the self-love, because if you're not feeling good about yourself and you start thinking about the things that you want, it's actually hurting that process even more than helping it, because you don't feel good and now you're focused on the lack of it, and you're very unlikely to get that. And so what we did with the videos is that the first like half of it, I would say, is about building you up, building up your self-esteem, building up your self-belief. And then we also have like family, friends, people you look up to and admire, record voice notes or videos, and we put that in your video so that you can hear people talking about how amazing you are. Because I'll be straight up, and it's interesting because this isn't something I tell a lot of people, but it's just like, when I first made that video, I would have to say the self-belief and self-love was not at its highest. And so I was leaning on some tools to help me get there before I could really believe in myself. And I just find that's what's interesting, because that's one of the people's favorite parts now. They say like, it was such an amazing experience just to send that love to other people, and then they would send them the voice notes back, because we have them send it out first to like give an example to people. And so they say that's the coolest part about the entire process, is they get to like share all this love and gratitude, and you throw that out, and then it comes right back. And I'm not kidding. Like every day I watch one, I still get chills, and it still brings me to tears when I hear people tell me how much they're grateful for me, how much they believe in me. So like really builds me up. It gets me feeling good. And then I start to think about the stuff that I want. That's when it really works.